Hi, very warm welcome. It's Jim from Avstar. Guys, we'll be doing the latest position of the magnetic North Pole tomorrow. I get it. I saw the comments yesterday, and just by the amount of comments on that video criticising that interview with Zelensky and Trump and JD Vance, I get it, guys. I understand you want change. Everyone does. We do here in the UK, and what we're pissed off about is that we never get it. All these politicians come in and they make all these promises, but nothing ever changes. So I want to ask, those people that were, having a go at me. I weren't having a go at Americans. I was just calling it out. But I want to ask those Americans because, first of all, I realise something really big here. That half of America is split at the moment. They're divided over the last election. And, I get people that make nice comments and agree with some of the things I say, and then I get slated by a lot of people. And I know this is a topic in the American household across all the states of America, and it's a heated topic. I've heard that families have fell out over it because they can't agree, and it's not just because it's Democrats or Republicans. It's because they don't agree with the policies and the behaviour of Trump right now. And I want to ask those that are for Trump, how exactly have you benefited so far with Trump being in the White House? And despite, his claims and Elon Musk's claims that they've saved hundreds of billions of pounds on cutting back on things like USAID, the World Health Organization, tariffing countries like China. But I want to say, how have you benefited? Has your taxes been reduced? Yeah. Has your food in the shop gone down in price? Yeah. Has your interest rates gone down? Or your utility bills? Because I know that they haven't. So how good is that making all these savings when it doesn't reflect back down to the person on the ground? And that's why you voted Donald Trump in, because you wanted those changes to take place. And they haven't. And they're not likely to, because he's a politician and they constantly lie. And, this is the same in Europe right now. They're destroying the politicians, they're destroying the German industry right now. Big companies like BMW, Audi, Mercedes, Porsche, all those big companies that you will have heard of, and you will see these cars on the streets of America and around the rest of the world, they've had to reduce their shifts and the production of the vehicles because they're simply not selling. And that's because people can't afford them, because what's happened is that the governments that were supposed to protect us are not protecting us. And Biden never protected us, Trump never protected us, Keir Starmer never protected us, and neither did Richie Sunak and all the others. They don't protect people like me and you on the ground. But I am happy about the response of Norway, because what they've just decided to do on the back of that meeting with Zelensky and Trump and AD Vance is ban American ships from being refueled. And they're asking all the other European countries to follow suit. I just want to read you this. We have today been witnessed to the biggest shit show ever presented live on TV by the current American president and his vice president. Huge credit to the president of Ukraine restraining himself and for keeping calm, even though the USA put on a backstabbing TV show. It made us sick. Short and sweet, as a result, we have decided to immediately stop fuel provided to American forces in Norway and their ships, calling in on Norwegian ports. No fuel to Americans, and you can see at the bottom there we encourage all Norwegians and Europeans to follow our example. Slavia Ukraine. That's exactly what is deserved, because a lot of people over here and a lot of Americans realised that, as is described here, the biggest shit show on TV or on social media was revealed to us all. But on top of that, you got Trump saying he wants to take Greenland off the people that live there. He wants to incorporate Canada into the 51st state, which has insulted your neighbours, guys. Canadians are happy being Canadians. They don't want to be Americans. They're happy to have their own country and be, self-sufficient. And sovereign is a better word to use. But I weren't having a go. I'm just pointing out, a few facts. Donald Trump is very wild. And no one quite gets what his method of leadership is or how he likes to make these negotiations. But, we was shocked as hell to see people criticise a guy that has been in war, coming on now 4 years, for not wearing a suit in the White House Oval Office. Well, no one criticised Elon Musk for not wearing a suit in the office. And it's a one-sided argument. But, this is what you're dealing with, people that haven't got cognitive thinking abilities. They can't see things, clearly. And people were trying to teach me, things that I've known for years. Absolutely, I couldn't believe it. What do you think? I'm the new kid on the block and I don't understand politics and what's going on in our world? It's the same as, it's not just politics, it's what goes on in industries, guys. I'll give you, for example, right, of the stupidity of all these things, and I'll relate it to our main topic, the pole shift. Do you know what we're calling the magnetic North Pole at the moment is actually the magnetic South Pole? And that we think we live in the West when really we live in the East. And that might come as a surprise to you, but what comes as a surprise to me is that these people that will tell you this, these big organisations like NOAA, NASA, the European Space Agency, know what exactly I've just said is absolutely 100% correct. But it doesn't get corrected. Why is that? Yes, we live in the northern hemisphere of our planet at the moment, but it is a magnetic South Pole. But if I talk about the magnetic South Pole in the northern hemisphere, it just confuses people. But that is because it's never been corrected, and it should be. We don't live in the West. We'll only be living in the West when the magnetic pole reverses. At the moment, we are currently and presently in the East, and that what we point to, or what your compass points to, is exactly 180 degrees incorrect. It's not right. But I could show you a way you can correct your magnetic compass so it reads south, even though it points to the northern hemisphere. But that's only if you want to know how to do that. You can correct any compass whatsoever. It's so easy to do. I could show you. But, this is the world we live in is broken at the moment. Things aren't getting cheaper for any of us, they're just getting more dearer. I opened up a beautiful letter today and my rent had increased by 2.1%. Amazing. And Keir Starmer's been in power for 4 months and he's not reduced the bills. The price of the food is still going up in the shops, and yet he says inflation is down. Well, if inflation's down, why does a box of eggs cost £3? It's ridiculous. So, first and foremost, guys, my brothers and sisters over there in America, I do get it. I understand that you are desperate for change because of the situation that you and your families are in. But I'm just saying, don't hold your breath for big changes, and don't expect anything to change with the expenditure in your life, because I'll tell you now, in 30 years of following politics, it's only got worse, and it will only ever get worse. So, it looks like things are going to get down. Oh, that's what I forgot to mention as well in the video yesterday. These tariffs. Let me just explain something. And I know a lot of you, I'm not teaching the granny to suck eggs here. I know you understand it, but there's a lot of people that don't understand what a tariff is. A tariff, if Donald Trump puts a tariff on China, let's say 10%, that means whatever you buy that comes from China will increase by 10%, and your government will be in receivership of that 10%, but you will still pay 10% more. If it increases by 50%, let's say you buy a Chinese electric vehicle for £50,000 and Donald Trump puts a 50% tariff on that, that Chinese vehicle is now £100,000, You buy the vehicle, £50,000 goes to the government, and you have had to pay an extra £50,000 because of those beautiful and sweet tariffs that Donald Trump has put on people. He does not explain this to you. But what really he means by I'm going to tariff this and I'm going to tariff this country and I'm going to tariff that country is he's saying I am taxing the American people. So think about that. If you don't believe me, do a little bit of research on it, because there are some great people that talk on this, some great economic people that are well renowned that talk on these subjects. So, having said that, I do have sympathy, but it looks like, if this does, catch on in Europe, can you imagine that? American ships that want to pull in, refuel up, especially over, the Norwegian seaways and, over the Baltic Sea and places like that, to carry on, they've just been blocked by a country and they're not allowed to refuel there. And if that catches on, then, you're going to have to create more nuclear powered ships that don't rely heavily on fuel. And that means your freight ships as well. So, having said that, we'll do the magnetic pole shift tomorrow, the latest positioning. There is a link down there, guys. Why don't you help support someone that's genuinely trying to inform you of things, especially related to the magnetic North Pole. And the reason why we only do it once a month now is because of the lack of funding. It's sad. It really is. But there you go. I'll say what I usually do. You have a great day. Take care of your loved ones. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.